Hello, this is Julian with Coffee Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the Asefa Dukamo Honey Processed Ethiopia from Camber Coffee. And there's the bag right there. And I have to show both sides on this one because this right here is one of Camber's Artist Series coffees featuring Tilly Mint, and massive respect and props to anybody that has any sort of artistic ability, because I'm a terrible artist and it's always kind of cool when you have a unique bag design and unique look. So shout out to Tilly Mint, this is pretty neat. I always love when Camber does their Artist Series for their coffee bags. Alright, a brief bit about Camber. They are based out of Bellingham in Washington, and I've only reviewed them once before on this channel, and I still feel kind of bad about that review because they were in a blind taste test. They finished last place, and I didn't think that was very representative of Camber, but it had to do a lot with the fact that they were up against some of the best coffees I had the entire year, so it was a little bit of a tricky thing, and I was dying to review them again. Saw this email with this coffee and knew the second I found it in a store when I was still living in Seattle, I was going to purchase it and review it. So lucky for me, found it, have the opportunity to review it. So let's start discussing it. This right here is day 15 of this coffee. And they do have a sort of loose brew guide on their website, and it does fall in line with my standard recipe. So this one was brewed at a standard recipe, 16.67:1 water to coffee ratio at 204 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll call this a medium light American roast profile. It's a little bit more on the medium side for, you can say, American coffees. And that has a lot to do with the fact that this area of the country is still kind of a little bit more on the medium side. All right, with that out of the way, let's start discussing this coffee. So day 7, it was a little bit more tropical fruit forward than I was kind of expecting. Pretty nice start to the coffee. I had a pretty positive first impression. And let me say this. With this coffee, I purchased it and was drinking it alongside of some really, really nice coffees, Takisi Geisha from Coffee Collective, as well as some much lighter European coffees. And I was putting this one in my work mug to kind of say this is the coffee I'll drink while I'm at work. But it kind of surpassed that pretty quickly. Day 8, essentially tropical fruit forward, started off with some nice fruit components and continued with some more lovely fruit notes in the finish, fruit across the board. Day 9, very fleshy fruit forward, a bit kind of apricot, and then cooling down into more sugary sweetness. And at times, given that it's a little more on the medium side, maybe some burnt sugar. It was really, really nice. Day 12, similar to the other days, really consistent coffee. And then it did kind of start to open up a little bit more than it already had. Super sugary coffee. It was kind of like maybe some candy gummy rings with a sugar coating on the outside. Very nice. Orange, yellow, fleshy fruits in huge abundance in this coffee. At warmer temperatures, this is day 14, at warmer temperatures this coffee can be a slight bit roasty. You can get a little bit of some smokiness, but as it cools down, it turns into this beautiful, beautiful fleshy fruit, and it is wildly abundant in the fleshy fruits. All right, let me go ahead and put up the tasting wheel so you can see what I was getting. And the thing that will jump out is, of course, the stone fruit is at a level 5, and I think this is maybe only the second time I've ever put a stone fruit at a level 5. The Ferment Ethiopia Bombay, of course, was the first one. And yeah, they list apricot on here and mango, and yeah, it's definitely apricot-y, peachy. I feel like this one's much more on the apricot side than that Ferment Bombay from Onyx was, but it is terrific. It is so lovely. I've always said that one of my favorite things about coffee is when it has those fleshy fruit notes. I think so many people love those fleshy fruit notes, and this one was a real winner when it came to those fleshy fruits. Sweetness pretty high, had a pretty nice finish. Cleanliness, level 4, maybe a bit generous. It could be 3, it could be 4. Body at a 3, and that's the part that I'm most curious about and interesting about, because it definitely was a level 3, and I think maybe it had to do with the honey processing, and this kind of describes this coffee in a nutshell when it comes down to putting that body at level 3, because I think that's what sets it apart. My thoughts and impressions of this coffee, pretty wowed. This coffee is not going to be one of my top 10 favorite coffees of the year, but I had kind of high expectations for it, and they actually surpassed it quite a bit. And the fact that it was competing against, well, not competing against, but it was being ranked simultaneously with a bunch of lighter coffees that are really good. I mean, all those other coffees that I'm rating are also really, really good. The fact that it was able to kind of stand out on its own is really special for this coffee. I think Camber did a spectacular job on this coffee, and the type of person I would suggest this coffee to, I have exactly who. People that do love their fleshier stone fruits, something a little bit with a little bit more body that's a little bit more on the medium side, medium light side. I think you would really enjoy this coffee because I was pretty impressed by this coffee throughout. It's still very impressive. I've always said those fleshy fruits are one of my favorite things that comes out of coffee. Massive glowing reviews on this coffee. I'm kind of sad it's over. If I didn't have more coffees to purchase, I would honestly buy a second bag of this coffee because it really was that good, and I rarely buy a second bag. But I'm going to leave it at that. If you have got the chance tried this Ethiopia, please let me know your thoughts and opinions of it, as well as Camber, because I would love to do some more Camber reviews. I genuinely like Camber quite a bit, so if you're enjoying the content, give this video a like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. But this right here has been a review of the Asefa Dukamo honey processed Ethiopia from Camber Coffee. Thank you for watching.